And lastly, in the top section here, you have the filter section. Again, just turn it on and then you can select one from lots of different types. In the first normal category here, we have all the standard ones: low pass filters, high pass filters, band, peak and notch. And you can also step through them here. Once you've selected your type, then you've got the standard filter controls just below, like cutoff and resonance. One thing here, in order to route these different sections, like oscillators A, B, noise and sub, you need to turn on their switches here. So at the moment, even though the filter's on, nothing's actually going into it. Whereas if I turn on all of them now, so A, sub and noise, now they're all going into the filter. Just turn up my master. Below, you have two really nice controls for fattening up the sound with this fat here, and also drive for overdriving it. So you can hear it can get quite distorted there. I'm just going to change the envelope here so the sound is a bit more sustained. And also change the waveform on the basic shapes to a sawtooth, so it's got a bit more top. Yeah. So now you can really hear that low pass. And in addition to the standard types, you have loads of really awesome ones here, like comb filters. And in this multi-section here, you have the option of combining filters. So for example, just choose this first one here. Here, suddenly the middle control down the bottom here changes from fat to frequency, and then you have a frequency control for a second filter. So what we have is the low pass still at the top here with the cutoff controlled by the usual dial, and then a high pass as well with the cutoff controlled using this middle one here. So for example, we could maybe select low notch here, and then you've still got the low pass filter, which we could maybe modulate with the LFO. Again, I'll do this quickly, but we'll do it much more slowly later on. And then maybe the notch filter could be modulated by another LFO with maybe a faster speed. So then using the one filter section here, we've got two different modulations going on. One at the top adding a sort of slower movement, and then a faster one in the center here. And again, I'll introduce you to these later on, but if I just go to the matrix, I can turn them on and off using the dials here. So we have our main filter cutoff first, and then our notch filter in the center. So yeah, getting a bit advanced there, moving on to the modulation section before we get to that module, but just wanted to give you an example of how this dual multi-filter feature in this section can be extremely cool for designing sounds. And then finally, these two controls on the end here, you have panning and mix. Mix is actually a very cool option because it allows you to add some sort of parallel filtering where you can let some of the dry signal through. For example, if I'm using the filter in this standard low pass mode to roll off some of the top end and maybe add some color by turning up the resonance. Then I can blend some of the dry back in with the mix dial. And the pan dial above is more of a stereo width dial than a pan dial. But you can hear in its extreme settings that it definitely shifts to one side or the other. As it's actually spreading the frequencies there. So the high frequencies are going one way, low the other. Which has the effect of feeling like it's panning, but in fact it's just spreading it out really wide. You can get some really interesting results again by combining the mix dial and the pan dial. And again, we'll look more into that later on. So that rounds up looking at all of the sound generators and the filter section in this upper half here when on the oscillator tab. In the next module, we're going to look at modulation, which is all done in this lower section here, and also look at the matrix tab. So I'll see you then.